Wow, this is very, very interesting. So we got some new developing reports as to why Shannon Sharpe left FS1 Undisputed. So Stephen A. Smith recently went on the Joe Budden podcast and pretty much aired out behind the scenes knowledge about why Shannon Sharpe left Undisputed. And according to Stephen A. Smith, it was not under Shannon Sharpe's own terms. He was actually pushed out the door, whether it was by Skip Bayless directly or executives. We don't know, but let's take a look and listen at what Stephen A. Smith have to say on Shannon Sharpe's on Joe Budden's podcast regarding Shannon Sharpe's departure from FS1's Undisputed.
The second that Shannon became available, and I like that you did this, by the way.
Right.
I like that you hey, right. I make no qualm. I would like him over here. I like that for the business, but for the Skip stuff, I was like, oh no, that's a jab. That hurts. You're gonna go after the co-host so soon. You didn't care.
I didn't look at it that way.
Got it.
I would have looked at it that way if Shannon left of his own volition. I'm telling you, he didn't. I'm telling you, he was pushed out.
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Well, I'm telling you, and it's fact. Now they can deny it. He wouldn't. I can promise you that. He was pushed out. He didn't want to leave.
Now hold on. Stephen A. Smith is known as the king of cap. Every time he says, my source is this, my source is that, he's been known to be a big liar, even though the recent incident with him, Lonzo Ball, pretty much he said that, I heard Lonzo couldn't sit up and down, and Lonzo came out and said that's not true. But I feel like Shannon Sharpe had to give somewhat of an okay for Stephen A. Smith to say this, because this is some very, very detailing stuff. I mean, especially since you begged the man to come be a part of the show, and you're building that chemistry. I mean, we saw them go into Boulder, Colorado, go watch the Colorado game versus Nebraska, and they look like two brothers. You know what I mean? They're building that chemistry behind the scenes and on scenes. And for Stephen A. to come out and say something that's a little bit private, behind the scenes type of, information, I have to think that Shannon Sharpe gave Stephen A. Smith the okay to say it. And a lot of people say they actually talked about that on Club Shay Shay's podcast when Stephen A. Smith was one of his recent hosts. And I think that episode did like about close to 2 million views, which I'm not surprised. Club Shay Shay is doing numbers on YouTube. I didn't see that part. I watched the whole episode, but maybe I'll go rewind and check to see what they talked about, because I know they talked about what it was like working with Skip, but I did not hear or see them mentioning that Shannon Sharpe was let go by FS1 instead of him leaving on his own terms. Because when we first heard the reports came out, it said that they both mutually agreed to part ways and that they worked out a buyout, and Shannon Sharpe was able to keep all rights to his podcast, Club Shay Shay, rightfully so. But we did not know that Shannon Sharpe, according to Stephen A. Smith, was fired, let go, pushed out the door from FS1.
He was notified that your services will no longer be needed. But again, that's his story to tell.
Course.
But I'm telling you what I know. I'm giving you facts. And so when I saw that, it wasn't just that I know the brother's talented. It wasn't just that I know he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion and an NFL Hall of Famer. It wasn't just that I knew that he had been doing television the last 6 years. I saw me from the standpoint of I was let go in 2009 and left for dead. And they were writing my epitaph, and they were like, Stephen A.'s career is over. He blew it. He had the opportunity of a lifetime. He effed it up and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, there was nobody in the present day Stephen A. Smith's position as the guy in sports media, as the executive producer for the #1 sports morning show, that could speak up for me at that time. And I said, this is why I'm here. It's my responsibility. So, it's nothing new. When you look at Swagoo, Marcus Spears, and you see his new contract, when you see Ryan Clark and all the things that he's doing, when you see a Kimberly Martin that was an NFL reporter and now she's on television, when you see a Monica McNutt and all this stuff, like, you know what? I'm at a point in time where if I don't want you on First Take, you ain't coming on First Take. And if I don't want you on First Take and you ain't coming on First Take, the likelihood is that you're going to have a problem getting on television, because that's the #1 morning show. And if Stephen A. ain't feeling you for that show, why should we feel you for X, Y, and Z show? It's just a chain reaction. It's not that I have any sway over those other shows, but it's...
One thing I don't like about Stephen A. Smith is that he comes off as a very arrogant prick. Now, does he have the right to feel that way? maybe you can say so, yes, because he is the face of one of the most powerful sports networks of all time, backed and owned by Disney, and he's making what, $16-17 million annually. This man is rich. He's on television. He has connections inside and out to the sports world, so maybe he has a right to feel arrogant the way he does, but that's besides the point. Now, if this seems to be true, what Stephen A. Smith is saying, that Shannon Sharpe was actually pushed out the door from Undisputed, why in the hell would Skip Bayless push his number one attraction out to the direct competitor, to the direct network that you are competing against? This makes no sense to me. And if this is true, this goes to show you how arrogant, pompous, and a jerk Skip Bayless is. It's the same reason why he left ESPN in 2016, because Stephen A. Smith was becoming more popular, more bigger than him. You saw First Take, mainly because Stephen A. was the main attraction. The memes, the entertainment, the unbiased, objective takes. When it came to Skip Bayless, most of his takes were just outlandish, and he said things for shock value, ratings, and clicks. The same thing with Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe is one of the most objective sports commentators out there. He's entertaining. He's funny. You know what I mean? All his ad libs and his what do you throw? Like, not the ad libs, but his analogies are spot on, especially when he talks about sports relating to life lessons when his grandma taught him and his grandparents. You know what I mean? He talked about that. But for Skip Bayless to push out his number one attraction, and he goes to the direct competitor, goes to show you that this man is a fucking idiot. And here's why. Because Shannon Sharpe, the minute he got to First Take, their ratings took a gigantic jump. And this is according to Front Office Sports. First Take averaged 717,000 viewers Tuesday to only 118,000 for Undisputed. On Monday, the first weekend of the NFL season, First Take posted 626,000 viewers to 185,000 for Undisputed. On Tuesday, the day after Aaron Rodgers' season-ending injury, First Take drew 1,717,000 viewers compared to 118,000 viewers for Undisputed. This was the third biggest audience for First Take this year, behind only Sharpe's Labor Day debut and February 13th episode after the Super Bowl. Sharpe appears on First Take Monday through Tuesday, only 2 days. The 2-day average for his shows this week was up 22% from comparable episodes last season. The number was also nearly double the show's average audience of 363,000 viewers in July. That goes to show you that Shannon Sharpe has an enormous following. He has an enormous fan base. As I mentioned before, you look at his Club Shay Shay podcast on YouTube. It took him within a year to get to 1.3 million subscribers and counting. Okay, a lot of people, when they see him on TV, they call him Unc. He's funny. He's entertaining. There is nothing in terms of talent that Shannon Sharpe can't do when it comes to talk about sports and being funny, entertaining, and informative at the same time. And if this seems to be true, you saw Skip Bayless pretty much got jealous and was upset the fact that Shannon Sharpe had leapfrogged him. Shannon Sharpe was the main attraction for Undisputed, not Skip Bayless. And you show how, and I believe this beef really started, obviously, you know, with the whole back and forth talk about Tom Brady, but I believe the beef really escalated during the whole Damar Hamlin situation. The day after Shannon Sharpe did not show up to Undisputed, Skip Bayless had to do the show solo, and I'm pretty sure that was one of the worst show ratings Undisputed has ever seen. Okay, and now the most attraction piece, the talent, the most watchable talent that they had, go to the direct competitor, and you see his impact on First Take. It is resounding. All right, so it makes no sense to me why Skip Bayless, you would push your number one attraction out the door. And look at the comparable numbers. Like I mentioned again, Club Shay Shay, 1.3 million subscribers on YouTube. Skip Bayless started his own podcast on his own YouTube. Only 157,000 subscribers to Club Shay Shay's 1.3 million and counting. Hell, even Stephen A. Smith has even surpassed him in subscriber and viewership count on YouTube. He started his own podcast, Stephen A. Smith's YouTube, 304,000 subscribers and less videos than Skip Bayless. So Skip Bayless, he's old, he's out of touch. Not a lot of people tune in to watch Skip Bayless talk about sports, because most of the things he says are nonsensical, the idiotic, and they're just for shock value. I mean, come on. And then, the new revamped Undisputed, where they had to bring in Michael Irvin, Keyshawn Johnson, Josina Anderson, Rachel Nichols, a whole rotating cast. They're pretty much copying the formula First Take has, all right? And First Take has been the #1 morning sports debate show in the world, all right? Because they're on one of the biggest, they are on the biggest sports networks in the world. ESPN is the worldwide leader, whether you like them or not. That's just the fact. Their ratings and their revenue back it up, even though Disney's stock has been going down. But we're just talking about First Take here. So for Stephen A. Smith, for Skip Bayless to push Shannon Sharpe out the door, it just makes no sense, because as you all know, Skip Bayless runs Undisputed, okay? And you could tell he runs Undisputed because they talk about the same 3 topics: Dallas Cowboys, Tom Brady, LeBron James, and Lakers. And you can obviously tell it was getting repetitive, it was getting mundane, it was getting stale. And Shannon Sharpe probably wanted more creative controls, like, yo, we need to diversify our topics because we talk about the same 3 things just in different ways. And so I'm happy that Shannon Sharpe is on First Take. Obviously, those two have great chemistry. They're continuing to build chemistry. Hell, they look like brothers when they went to Boulder, Colorado to watch the Colorado game. And listen, good for Stephen A. that he got the main person he wanted. Now he also added Pat McAfee to the First Take lineup. First Take has just been kicking Undisputed's ass in the ratings and will continue to do so as long as Shannon Sharpe shows up, because he brings in a resounding audience to that show. So Shannon Sharpe's talent, undeniable, and whenever Stephen A. Smith decides to hang it up and goes into other future endeavors that he wants to do, because I believe he has like 2 years left on his contract, Shannon Sharpe is the prime replacement to be the head honcho at First Take, because he already has the following. He already knows how to talk on camera. He has the knowledge. He's primed and ready. Skip Bayless is a dumb fool to push that man out the door, if that is to be true. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Skip Bayless forced Shannon Sharpe out the door? FS1 Undisputed. How do you like First Take's new lineup with Shannon Sharpe on there? How do you like Undisputed's new rotating lineup with Keyshawn, Michael Irvin, Richard Sherman, Josina Anderson, and those other people? Leave your comment down below. Subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.